Cheating wife story. Her Maldives betrayal shattered a millionaire's heart. I wasn't looking for betrayal. I just wanted one perfect moment to freeze time. What I found instead shattered everything I thought I knew about love. Welcome to my cheating wife story. One that's raw, real, and ripped straight from the heart. If this hits you, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Viora for more stories that cut deep. My name is Ethan Caldwell, a 55-year-old investment banker who built a fortune from nothing. Picture a life where penthouses in Manhattan, private jets to Paris, and a garage full of Ferraris and Bentleys are just Tuesday. That's me. But the real treasure, my wife, Lauren Caldwell. For 30 years, she was my anchor, my muse, the woman who made every late night at the office worth it. Her laugh could light up a room, and her touch could make the world stop spinning. We were the couple everyone envied. High school sweethearts turned power duo, raising our daughter, Mia, into a brilliant young woman. Life wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Or so I thought. This cheating wife story begins in the Maldives, where I'd planned the ultimate 30th anniversary getaway. I wanted to remind Lauren of the kids we used to be, sneaking kisses under the stars before the world got complicated. I booked a private villa over the turquoise water, complete with a personal chef, a yacht for sunset cruises, and a beachfront dinner under a canopy of fairy lights. The kind of luxury that screams, "We made it." But as our jet touched down on that island paradise, something felt off. Lauren's smile was tight, her eyes distant, like she was looking through me instead of at me. I chalked it up to jet lag. I was wrong. The first night, we walked hand in hand to the beach for dinner. The waves whispered against the shore, and the air smelled of salt and jasmine. I'd spent weeks planning this moment, down to the playlist of our old songs humming softly in the background. I reached for her hand, expecting that familiar warmth, but her fingers slipped away. "I'm just tired, Ethan," she said, her voice clipped. She stared at the horizon, her diamond necklace glinting under the moonlight. That necklace, a $200,000 custom piece I'd given her for our 25th anniversary, suddenly felt like a weight around her neck, not a gift. I ignored the pang in my chest. I told myself it was nothing. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just a mood. This was the start of an infidelity storytime I never wanted to live. The next morning, I woke up alone in our villa. Lauren's side of the bed was cold, her silk robe gone. I found her on the private deck, scrolling through her phone. Her face lit up in a way I hadn't seen in months. "Good morning, beautiful," I said, forcing a smile. She flinched, locking her phone so fast it might as well have been a crime scene. "Just checking emails," she muttered, tucking the phone into her pocket. Emails. At 6 a.m. in the Maldives. On our anniversary trip. My gut twisted, but I didn't push. I've read enough Reddit cheating stories to know that pushing too soon gets you lies, not truth. That day, the cracks deepened. At breakfast, she barely touched her lobster Benedict, her eyes darting to her phone every time it buzzed. When I suggested a snorkeling trip, she snapped, "Can't you just let me relax?" Her words stung, but it was her tone, sharp, dismissive, that cut deeper. Lauren, the woman who once planned our adventures with a sparkle in her eye, was gone. In her place was a stranger, and I was starting to wonder if this was one of those cheating wives' tales I'd scoffed at online. By the third day, suspicion was a living thing, clawing at my chest. I couldn't shake the image of her clutching that phone like a lifeline. So, while she was in the shower, I did something I'd never done in 30 years. I checked her phone. My hands shook as I punched in her passcode. Our anniversary date, 062394. The screen lit up, and there it was, a text from Jake. Just one word, "Tonight." No context, no explanation. My heart slammed against my ribs. Jake? Who the hell was Jake? I scrolled up, but the chat was sparse, like she'd deleted the rest. Another message from him popped up as I held the phone. "Can't wait to see you." I dropped the phone like it burned me. This wasn't just a true cheating story. This was my life unraveling. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed proof, not just a gut punch. That night, Lauren said she was going for a walk after dinner, alone, in a $5,000 evening gown and heels, on a beach. I let her go, but I followed, keeping my distance. The Maldives is small, and secrets don't hide well. I trailed her to a secluded bar near the resort, where she slid into a booth with a man. He was younger, maybe 35, tanned, with the kind of polished charm that screams, "I know I'm hot." They leaned close, her hand on his arm, his fingers brushing her cheek. I stood frozen, hidden by a palm tree, watching my wife laugh with a stranger the way she used to laugh with me. This was no emotional cheating story. This was a wife affair exposed, and I was the fool who didn't see it coming. I went back to the villa, my mind a storm. I didn't sleep. I replayed every moment of our marriage, searching for the moment I lost her. Was it when I worked 80-hour weeks to build our empire? When Mia left for college, and the house got too quiet? Or was it always there? A crack I was too blind to see? I thought about all the cheating stories I'd read on Reddit, the ones where the husband screams or begs. But I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted answers and I wanted control. The next morning, Lauren acted like nothing happened. She kissed my cheek, called me honey, and suggested we take the yacht out. Her performance was Oscar-worthy, but I saw the truth in her eyes. Guilt, mixed with defiance. I played along, nodding as she rambled about the weather. But inside I was planning. I caught her cheating reaction on my phone. A blurry photo from the bar, time-stamped. It wasn't much, but it was enough to light a fire. This wasn't just a cheating wife-caught moment. This was the start of a husband revenge story, and I was ready to write the next chapter. Over the next few days, Lauren's lies piled up. She'd run to the spa but come back with no appointment receipt. She'd call Mia, but hang up after 30 seconds, her voice too sweet, too staged. I started noticing details. A new perfume I didn't buy, a pair of earrings I didn't recognize, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Each clue was a knife, but I didn't bleed. I watched, I waited, and I dug. I called Mia, our 25-year-old daughter, who was finishing her MBA in Boston. "Dad, is everything okay?" she asked, her voice tight. I didn't tell her about Jake. Not yet. But I asked her to keep an eye on her mom's social media. Mia's a tech whiz. She'd find something. And she did. Mia texted me a screenshot from Lauren's private Instagram, one I didn't even know existed. It was a photo of her and Jake, captioned, "Living my truth." The date? 2 months ago during a work trip to Miami. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a fling. This was a toxic relationship story, and Lauren had been scripting it behind my back. I saved the screenshot, my hands steady now. The hurt was still there, but it was fuel. I wasn't just living a cheating wife Reddit post. I was building a case. The final twist of this part came on our last night in the Maldives. Lauren planned a romantic dinner to reconnect. She wore a red dress that hugged her curves. Her hair swept up like she was 25 again. She talked about our future, our memories, our love. But I saw through it. Every word was a performance, every smile a mask. Halfway through dessert, her phone buzzed. She ignored it, but I didn't. "Who's that?" I asked, my voice calm but sharp. Her face paled. "Just work," she said, but her hands trembled. I leaned forward, locking eyes with her. "Lauren, don't lie to me." For a split second, her mask slipped, and I saw fear. Not guilt. Fear. That's when I knew. This wasn't just a wife betrayal confession waiting to happen. She was in deeper than I thought. As we walked back to the villa, the Maldives moon hung low, casting shadows on the sand. I didn't confront her. Not yet. But I made a decision. I'd play her game, but I'd win. I'd spent 30 years building a life with her, and I wasn't going to let her torch it without a fight. This cheating wife story wasn't over. It was just beginning. The Maldives moon was still glowing when I made my choice. No tears, no screams, just strategy. Lauren's lies were a house of cards, and I was ready to pull the tablecloth. Back in our villa, Lauren slipped into bed like nothing was wrong. Her breath steady, her face a mask of calm. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, the hum of the ocean mocking the storm in my chest. Her phone sat on the nightstand, a silent traitor. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. The photo from the bar, Mia's screenshot, and that single word, tonight, were enough to fuel my next move. This wasn't just an infidelity story time. This was war, and I was done playing the fool. The next morning, we flew back to New York. Lauren was all smiles on the private jet, sipping champagne and flipping through a magazine like we were still the perfect couple. I matched her energy, nodding at her small talk, but my mind was elsewhere. I'd already texted Mia, dig deeper, check her emails if you can. My daughter didn't ask questions. She knew something was wrong, and she was as sharp as her old man. By the time we landed at JFK, Mia had sent me a goldmine, a forwarded email from Lauren's personal account to Jake, dated 3 weeks ago. I can't wait to be free, it read. Ethan's too busy with his empire to notice. Attached was a photo of them on a yacht. Not ours, her arms around his neck, his grin smug enough to punch through a screen. My stomach churned, but I saved it. Evidence was my weapon, and I was building an arsenal. Back at our Manhattan penthouse, the cracks in Lauren's facade grew. She'd vanish for meetings with no details, come home smelling of cologne I didn't wear, and dodge my questions with a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. I let her think she was winning. I'd learned from Reddit cheating stories. Confrontation without proof just breeds denial. So I watched, waited, and planned. I hired a private investigator, a discreet guy named Vince who'd worked for my firm on corporate espionage cases. Follow her, I told him. I want names, places, times. Vince didn't blink. You got it, Mr. Caldwell. 2 weeks, max. While Vince worked, I kept up appearances. Lauren and I attended a gala at the Met, her in a $10,000 gown, me in a tailored Tom Ford suit. We smiled for the cameras, her hand on my arm, my heart 1,000 miles away. The elite of New York toasted our perfect marriage, oblivious to the truth. But I saw it. The way her eyes scanned the room, the way her phone never left her clutch. At one point, she excused herself to take a call. I followed, staying out of sight. Through a glass door, I saw her in the courtyard, laughing into her phone, her voice low and intimate. Soon, she said. I promise. I didn't need to hear the rest. This was a wife affair exposed, and I was done being her backdrop. Vince's report came faster than expected. 8 days after we returned, he slid a folder across my desk at the bank. You're not gonna like this, he said. Inside were photos, timestamps, and receipts. Jake wasn't just some fling. His full name was Jacob Harper, a 34-year-old personal trainer who'd been living off Lauren's gifts. A Rolex, a leased Porsche, even a Soho apartment she'd rented under a shell company I didn't know she had. The photos were brutal. Lauren and Jake at a rooftop bar, her lips on his, them slipping into a hotel, her hand in his back pocket. A selfie of them in bed, her wedding ring nowhere in sight. I stared at that last one until my vision blurred. 30 years, and she traded me for a gym bro with a spray tan. This wasn't just a cheating wife-caught moment. This was betrayal carved into my bones. But the real gut punch? Jake wasn't a stranger. Vince is digging uncovered texts between Lauren and my old college buddy, Ryan, who'd introduced her to Jake at a charity event I'd skipped. Ryan, the guy who'd been my best man, who'd called me brother at our wedding. He'd known about the affair for months and covered for her, feeding her alibis while I worked late. I thought back to his last visit, how he'd clapped my shoulder and said, "You're a lucky man, Ethan." Lucky. The word tasted like ash now. This wasn't just a true cheating story. It was a knife in the back from 2 people I trusted. I didn't confront Lauren. Not yet. I needed one more piece. I called Mia, who'd hacked into Lauren's iCloud. Don't ask me how. She's a genius, and found a hidden folder of videos. One was a voice memo, Lauren's voice soft but clear. I'm done pretending, Jake. Ethan's my past. You're my future. The date was our anniversary. The night she'd sat across from me at that Maldives dinner, smiling like she still loved me. I played it again, each word a hammer to my chest. I wasn't just living a cheating wife Reddit post. I was drowning in it. That night, I tested her. Over dinner at our favorite Michelin star restaurant, I slid her phone across the table. "You got a message," I said, my voice neutral. Her face froze, but she recovered fast, unlocking it with a laugh. "Just Mia," she lied, deleting something before I could see. I nodded, sipping my wine, but inside, I was raging. She thought she was slick, but I was steps ahead. I'd already mirrored her phone to a secure server, thanks to Vince's tech guy. Every text, every call, every lie. She was an open book, and I was reading every page. The next twist came from an unexpected source. Lauren herself. She started acting nice, too nice. Breakfast in bed, new cufflinks, just because. Even a surprise weekend trip to our Hamptons estate. "Let's reconnect," she said, her eyes soft, her hand on mine. For a moment, I almost believed her. But then I saw it. A notification on her smartwatch, a heart emoji from Jake, timestamped 2 a.m. She was playing me, hedging her bets. This wasn't a wife-cheating confession. This was a performance, and I was done being her audience. I decided to up the stakes. I invited Ryan over for drinks, knowing Lauren would be there. The tension was electric. Ryan was his usual charming self, cracking jokes, but his eyes kept darting to Lauren, who was fidgeting with her wine glass. I played dumb, toasting our old times, but I dropped a bomb. "Hey, Ryan, you still talk to that trainer guy, Jake? Saw him at the gym. Seems like Lauren's type." The room went silent. Lauren choked on her wine, and Ryan's smile faltered. Don't know him well," he stammered. Lauren jumped in. Too fast. "I don't know any Jake." Her lie was so blatant. I almost laughed. I let it slide, but I saw the panic in her eyes. This was a caught-her-cheating reaction, and she knew it. The next day, I went nuclear quietly. I contacted my lawyer, Claire, a shark who'd handled my firm's toughest mergers. "I want a divorce," I told her, handing over Vince's folder, Mia's screenshots, and the voice memo. "Protect my assets, my daughter, and my dignity." Claire didn't flinch. "She's toast," she said, already drafting papers. But I wasn't done. I remembered the Maldives, how strict their laws were about extramarital affairs. I'd kept a contact from our trip, a local official named Amir. I emailed him the bar photo and a tip. Lauren had been indiscreet with a man during our stay. It was a long shot, but I knew the Maldives didn't mess around. If I could stir trouble, I would. 2 days later, Amir replied, "We take such matters seriously. We're investigating." I didn't expect much, but it felt good to act. Meanwhile, Lauren was unraveling. She started leaving her phone out, like she was daring me to check it. I didn't. I had everything I needed, but her boldness pissed me off. She was so sure I'd stay blind, stay loyal, stay hers. I thought about all the cheating stories I'd read, the ones where the husband begs or breaks. I wasn't that guy. I was Ethan Caldwell, and I built empires. If Lauren wanted a war, she'd get one. The climax of this part hit when Mia called, her voice shaking. "Dad?" "Mom's trending on Twitter." I opened the app, and there it was, a viral post from a Maldives travel blog, showing a blurred photo of Lauren at the bar with Jake, captioned, "American tourist faces charges for immoral behavior in Maldives." The story had exploded, with thousands of retweets calling her out as a cheating wife caught on camera. Commenters tore her apart. 30 years married, and she does this? Hope her husband sues. I scrolled, my heart racing. The Maldives tip had worked too well. Lauren's name was plastered across the internet, her reputation in flames. She didn't know yet, but her world was about to crash. That night, Lauren came home late, her face pale. "Ethan, we need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. I leaned back in my chair, the Manhattan skyline glittering behind me. "About what?" I asked, my tone cold. She opened her mouth, but her phone buzzed, and she froze. I smiled. "Go ahead. Answer it." She didn't. She just stood there, eyes wide, like a deer in headlights. This wasn't just a toxic relationship story. This was her reckoning, and I was holding the match. The air in our penthouse was thick with unspoken truths, Lauren's trembling silhouette framed against the Manhattan skyline. Her phone buzzed again, a relentless traitor, but she didn't dare touch it. I leaned back, my face a mask of calm, while inside, I was a furnace of rage and resolve. This cheating wife story was no longer just mine. It was global, and Lauren was about to feel the weight of her own lies. Lauren's voice cracked as she finally spoke. Ethan, I can explain. Her eyes darted, searching for an escape, but I wasn't giving her one. Explain what? I asked, my tone sharp enough to cut glass. The texts? The photos? Or the fact that you're trending as the poster child for cheating wives? Her face drained of color, and for the first time in 30 years, I saw her without the mask. Raw, exposed, and terrified. She stammered, "It's not what you think." But the words were hollow, a reflex from a woman who'd spent months scripting her betrayal. I didn't respond. I just watched her squirm, the silence louder than any accusation. She sank onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered. "Jake. He made me feel alive again." Alive. The word hit like a slap. 30 years of building a life. Our empire, our daughter, our legacy. And she needed a gym bro to feel alive? I could have laughed if it didn't hurt so much. But I stayed stone cold, letting her words hang in the air. This wasn't just a wife betrayal confession. It was a funeral for the woman I thought I knew. I stood, crossing to the bar to pour a scotch, the ice clinking like a countdown. "You're trending, Lauren," I said, not turning around. "Maldives authorities are investigating you for immoral behavior. The internet's calling you a cautionary tale. Care to explain that?" She gasped, scrambling for her phone, her fingers shaking as she opened Twitter. The viral post was still climbing, 50,000 retweets now, with comments tearing her apart. "Cheating wife caught red-handed. Hope her husband takes everything." She scrolled, her breath hitching, until she dropped the phone like it burned her. How did this happen?" she whispered. I sipped my drink, letting the question linger. She didn't need to know about Amir or the tip I'd sent. Not yet. The next morning, Lauren was a ghost of herself, pacing the penthouse in a silk robe, her phone glued to her ear. I overheard snippets, her lawyer, her PR team, even Jake, his voice muffled but smug. She was trying to spin the narrative to paint herself as the victim. "It was a misunderstanding," she told her publicist, her voice desperate. "I'm not that kind of woman." I almost snorted. Not that kind of woman? The evidence said otherwise. Vince's photos, Mia's screenshots, the voice memo where she called me her past. This wasn't just an emotional cheating story. It was a calculated unraveling, and Lauren was drowning in it. I didn't stay to watch her flail. I had a meeting with Claire, my lawyer, at her sleek midtown office. She spread the divorce papers across her desk, each page a brick in the wall I was building between me and Lauren. "She's got no leverage," Claire said, tapping the folder of evidence. "Adultery, public scandal, even financial misconduct with that shell company for Jake's apartment. We've got her pinned." I nodded, but my chest tightened. This wasn't just a divorce. It was the end of a dream I'd spent decades chasing. Claire leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "Ethan, you want blood, we can get it. But you need to decide how far you're going." I didn't answer. I was still weighing it, revenge versus release, justice versus peace. Back home, Lauren tried to play the remorse card. She cornered me in the kitchen, her eyes red from crying, her voice soft. "Ethan, I messed up. I was lost. But I love you. We can fix this." She reached for my hand, but I pulled back, the memory of her with Jake flashing like a neon sign. "Fix this," I said, my voice low. "You fixed it when you told him I was your past." Her jaw dropped and I saw the realization hit. I knew about the voice memo. She opened her mouth to lie, but I cut her off. "Don't. I've got everything, texts, photos, videos. You're not talking your way out of this." She crumpled, sobbing, but I felt nothing. This wasn't a Reddit cheating stories post where the husband caves. I was done being her safety net. The next twist came fast. Mia called, her voice urgent. "Dad, check the news." I opened my laptop, and there it was, a CNN headline, "American tourist faces Maldives charges in viral cheating scandal." The story detailed Lauren's indiscretions at the resort, complete with the blurred bar photo and quotes from local officials about upholding moral standards. The article named her Lauren Caldwell, 54, wife of prominent banker Ethan Caldwell, and the internet erupted. Twitter was a battlefield, with hashtags like #cheatingwife and #Maldives scandal trending. Memes mocked her, Reddit threads dissected her, and gossip blogs dug into our marriage. Lauren's PR team was scrambling, but the damage was done. Her reputation was ash, and I hadn't even fired the final shot. Lauren's meltdown was swift. She locked herself in the guest room, screaming into her phone at Jake, who, surprise, was ghosting her. I overheard her pleading, "You said you'd stand by me." His silence was deafening. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered the yacht photo, her arms around him, her caption about living her truth. This was a wife affair exposed, and Jake was just the spark. Lauren had lit the match herself. I decided to confront Ryan next. I invited him to a rooftop bar, the kind of place where Wall Street titans close deals over $500 whiskey. He showed up, all grins and handshakes, but his eyes were nervous. I didn't waste time. "You knew about Jake," I said, sliding a photo across the table, him introducing Lauren to Jake at that charity event. Ryan's face fell. "Ethan, it wasn't like that," he started. But I cut him off. "You were my best man. You called me brother. And you helped her betray me." He stammered, but I wasn't there for excuses. "You're dead to me," I said, standing. "And good luck with your conscience." I walked away, leaving him with the bill and the weight of his guilt. This wasn't just a husband revenge story. It was a reckoning for everyone who'd crossed me. Back at the penthouse, Lauren's desperation hit a new low. She tried to stage a heart-to-heart, setting up a candlelit dinner like we were back in the Maldives. "We can start over," she said, her voice trembling, her eyes pleading. "I'll end it with Jake. I'll go to therapy. Anything." I looked at her, the woman I'd loved for 3 decades, and saw a stranger. "You don't get it," I said, my voice steady. "This isn't about Jake. It's about you choosing to burn us down." She sobbed, but I walked away. I'd spent too long fighting for a marriage she'd already abandoned. The Maldives situation escalated. Amir emailed me. Lauren had been formally charged with public immorality, a rare but serious offense in the Maldives. She wasn't in New York, so they couldn't arrest her, but they'd banned her from returning and were pushing for a public apology. The story hit American tabloids, with headlines like, "Banker's wife shamed in tropical scandal." Lauren's social circle, those Upper East Side queens who'd once worshipped her, turned their backs. Invites to galas dried up, whispers followed her at the country club, and her charity board asked her to step back. She was radioactive, and I hadn't lifted a finger since that email to Amir. But the real blow came from Mia. She flew in from Boston, her face a mix of fury and heartbreak. "How could you, Mom?" she demanded, confronting Lauren in our living room. Lauren tried to spin it, blaming me for neglecting her, but Mia wasn't buying it. "Dad gave you everything," she said, tears streaming. "And you threw it away for some loser?" Lauren reached for her, but Mia pulled back. "I'm done," she said, and walked out. I followed, catching her in the elevator. "I'm sorry you had to see this," I said. She hugged me, her voice fierce. "I'm not. She doesn't deserve you." That moment, holding my daughter, was the first time I felt something other than anger. It was love, and it was enough to keep going. Claire called with an update. The divorce was airtight, but Lauren was fighting dirty. She'd hired a shark of her own, claiming I'd entrapped her in the Maldives to ruin her reputation. It was a desperate move, and Claire laughed it off. "She's got nothing," she said, "but she's trying to drag this out." I wasn't surprised. Lauren had always been a fighter, but now she was fighting for scraps. Her image, her pride, her past. I told Claire to push harder. "I want this over," I said. And I want her to feel every choice she made. The next twist was unexpected. Jake resurfaced not to save Lauren, but to sell her out. He gave an interview to a gossip site, spilling details about their affair. How she'd paid for his lifestyle, how she'd planned to leave me, how she'd laughed about my boring life. The article was brutal, with screenshots of their texts and a photo of Lauren buying him that Rolex. Twitter exploded again with #cheatingwife trending worldwide. Lauren was now a meme, a punchline, a warning. I read the article in my office, the city glittering below, and felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not pain. Just emptiness. This wasn't just a caught cheating on camera moment. It was the end of an era. Lauren's final plea came late one night. She showed up at my office, disheveled, her eyes wild. "Ethan, please," she begged. "I'll do anything. Don't let them destroy me." I looked at her, the woman who'd once been my everything, and saw only her choices. "You destroyed yourself," I said, my voice cold. "And you took us down with you." She collapsed, sobbing, but I didn't comfort her. I walked past, leaving her in the dark. This wasn't a revenge-cheating wife story anymore. It was survival, and I was choosing me. The part ended with a call from Amir. The Maldives had closed their case, issuing a formal statement condemning Lauren's disrespect to their laws. They'd sent a copy to U.S. media, ensuring her shame followed her home. I sat in my penthouse alone, the divorce papers on the table. Lauren was gone, crashing at a friend's place, her life in ruins. I'd won, but victory tasted like ash. I thought about Mia, about the empire I'd built, about the man I'd been. Was it worth it? Or had I lost something I'd never get back? The Manhattan skyline glittered through my penthouse window, a cold constellation of steel and glass that mirrored the emptiness in my chest. The divorce papers sat and signed on the table, Lauren's name a scar on every page. Her life was in freefall, shamed online, shunned by her elite circle, abandoned by Jake. But I wasn't celebrating. Victory was supposed to feel better than this. Lauren's absence left a void, not just in the penthouse but in the rhythm of my days. The silence was deafening. No clink of her wine glass, no hum of her voice planning our next gala. I poured a scotch, the amber liquid catching the city lights, and replayed the last year. Her lies, Jake's smug grin, Ryan's betrayal, the Maldives scandal. I played my hand perfectly, but the win felt hollow. This wasn't just a husband revenge story anymore. It was about what came next, and I wasn't sure I knew. The next morning, Claire called. "Lauren's lawyer wants to settle," she said, her voice crisp. "She's dropping the entrapment claim. Wants half the assets and a public statement saying you forgive her." I laughed, a bitter sound. Forgive her? After the texts, the yacht, the voice memo calling me her past? "No deal," I said. "She gets nothing but the consequences." Claire didn't argue. "I'll file for summary judgment. She's got no cards left." I hung up, staring at the divorce papers. Signing them would end it, but something held me back. Not love. Maybe pride, maybe fear of the man I'd become without her. Mia was my anchor. She flew in from Boston again, her MBA finals behind her, and we met at a quiet cafe in the village. She looked older, her eyes carrying the weight of her mother's betrayal. "Dad, you okay?" she asked, stirring her latte. I wanted to lie, to say I was fine, but Mia deserved better. "I'm surviving," I said, "but it's not what I thought it'd be." She reached for my hand, her grip fierce. "You don't need her. You've got me and you've got you." Her words hit hard, a reminder that this infidelity storytime wasn't just about loss. It was about rebuilding. Lauren's next move was desperate. She showed up at the penthouse unannounced, her designer coat rumpled, her makeup smudged. "Ethan, please," she said, her voice raw. "I know I screwed up, but we had 30 years. Doesn't that mean anything?" I looked at her, the woman who'd once been my world, and saw only her choices. The bar photo, the Rolex on Jake's wrist, the caption about living her truth. It meant everything, I said, my voice steady. "Until you decided it didn't." She sobbed, reaching for me, but I stepped back. You need help, Lauren. But not from me. I handed her the divorce papers and signed. Sign them. Walk away. She took them, her hands trembling, and left without a word. I didn't watch her go. The internet hadn't forgotten her. The hashtag cheatingwife hashtag was still alive, with new memes and Reddit threads dissecting her fall. A gossip site ran a piece titled From Penthouse to Pariah, the Lauren Caldwell story, complete with paparazzi shots of her leaving a dive bar, her face haggard. I didn't read it. I didn't need to. Lauren was a ghost now, haunting her own mistakes. But the world's judgment wasn't enough to fill the hole she'd left. I needed more, not revenge, but purpose. I threw myself into work, closing a $2 billion merger that cemented my firm's dominance. The board toasted me. Forbes called me unstoppable. But it felt like noise. I started running again, pounding the Central Park trails at dawn, the city waking around me. Each step was a reclaiming, a shedding of the man who'd trusted Lauren blindly. I bought a new car, a sleek McLaren P1, black as midnight, and drove it through the Catskills, the engine's roar drowning out the echoes of her voice. But the past clung like damp air, and I knew I couldn't outrun it. A week later, Claire sent the signed divorce papers. Lauren had caved, accepting a minimal settlement, enough for a modest apartment, nothing more. She'd waived her claim to our Hamptons estate, our art collection, even her stake in my firm. She's broken, Claire said. Her lawyer says she's in therapy. I nodded, filing the papers away. Broken or not, Lauren was no longer my burden. This wasn't a revenge-cheating wife tale anymore. It was a divorce after cheating, and I was free. But freedom was a strange beast. I walked through the penthouse, its marble floors and custom chandeliers feeling like a museum of a life I didn't recognize. I thought about selling it, starting fresh, but Mia stopped me. "This is your home, Dad," she said over dinner at Nobu. "Don't let her take that too." She was right. So I stayed, redecorating instead, new art, new furniture, no trace of Lauren's taste. The penthouse became mine again, a fortress for the man I was becoming. The final twist came from an unexpected source. Jake. He emailed me, a cowardly move from a man who dodged the fallout. "Ethan, I'm sorry," it read. "I didn't know it'd go this far." Lauren was persuasive. He attached a zip file, more texts, more photos, even a video of Lauren ranting about my boring life. I didn't open it. I forwarded it to Claire, who added it to our legal arsenal just in case. Jake's apology was worthless, a footnote in a true cheating story that had already ended. I deleted the email and blocked him. He didn't deserve my anger. He didn't deserve anything. Lauren's last act was public and pathetic. She launched an OnlyFans account, a 54-year-old woman chasing relevance in a world that had already moved on. The tabloids ate it up, calling her desperate and deluded. I didn't look at her page, but Mia did, her face twisting with disgust. "She's embarrassing herself," she said. I nodded, but I felt a pang of pity. Lauren had traded 30 years of love for a fantasy of youth, and now she was a shadow, grasping at strangers' validation. This wasn't a cheating wife Reddit post anymore. It was a tragedy, and she was its architect. I found my own path forward in Montana. I'd always dreamed of owning a ranch, a boyhood fantasy buried under boardrooms and balance sheets. So I bought one, 500 acres of rolling hills, a cedar lodge, and a stable of rescue horses. I named it Horizon, a nod to the future I was chasing. The first time I rode out at dawn, the wind sharp and the sky endless, I felt something shift. Not peace, not yet, but possibility. The horses didn't care about my past. They didn't know Lauren's name or the weight of her betrayal. They just ran, and I ran with them, free in a way I hadn't been in years. Mia visited often, bringing her girlfriend, Lena, a sharp-witted lawyer who fit our family like she'd always been there. We'd grill steaks, watch the stars, and talk about everything but Lauren. Mia was thriving, launching a tech startup with seed funding from my firm. "You taught me to build, Dad," she said one night, her eyes shining. "Not just empires, but lives." I hugged her, my throat tight. This wasn't just a toxic relationship story. It was a love story between a father and daughter, between a man and his second chance. I kept tabs on Lauren, not out of longing but curiosity. She'd moved to a small apartment in Queens, a far cry from our penthouse. Her OnlyFans flopped, and she took a job as a receptionist, her days of charity boards and gala gowns long gone. A mutual friend said she was in therapy, trying to find herself. I hoped she would, but I didn't care enough to check. She was a chapter closed, a lesson learned. The ranch became my sanctuary. I adopted 5 horses, each with a story of survival, like me. There was Titan, a black stallion who'd been starved, but now galloped like he owned the plains. I'd brush him at dusk, the rhythm grounding me, and think about the man I'd been. The banker, the husband, the fool. I wasn't that man anymore. I was Ethan Caldwell, 55, starting over with dirt on my boots and a horizon to chase. One evening, I walked to a clearing on the ranch, a red balloon in my hand. A whim from a local fair. I tied a note to it, just one word, enough. I let it go, watching it drift into the Montana sky, the horses grazing in the distance. It was a small act, but it felt like a release, a final goodbye to the pain Lauren had left. This wasn't a cheating story voice-over anymore. It was my story, and I was writing the ending. I don't know if I did the right thing. I could have confronted her sooner, maybe saved us both the public shame. I could have forgiven her, rebuilt what we had. But would that have been love, or just fear of being alone? I chose myself, my daughter, my horses, my horizon. Was that enough? Or did I lose something I'll never name? Did I choose freedom, or did I run from the fight? Tell me what you think, and let's keep the conversation going. If this story moved you, smash that like button, share your thoughts below, and subscribe to Viora for more unforgettable tales of love and loss.